This is the PAP, 20% of your overall project. Yeah, admin there, all classes are recorded. Yep, thanks very much, admin. So this is 20% of your overall P marks, 100 marks. Your other project after Christmas, which you're not even thinking about now, is 30%, 150 marks, and then the theory exam is 250. Okay, so I'm going to try and explain everything about the PAP tonight and give you the biggest overview I can, go into the details of each section A, B, and C, and then also have a look at the marking scheme. Probably the most important thing for me now at this stage. The biggest thing I can give you is stuff on the marking scheme. I hope you have a decent level of understanding, but maybe you don't. We're only early days. We're still at September, and you have until the 12th of December. So yeah, 1600 words is what you're required for this, and you add a video per section. So there's a video at section A. That video will be you doing loads of tests. There's a video at section B. That's a video of you doing your training program to get better at the 3 things you found that weren't so great in section A. And then a section C video showing what you look like now after doing an 8-week, 6-week program, and you'll be doing a retest. All right. The PAP window is open. That means you should have started now. The document is out. That you can get the document online. Everyone fills in the same document, so that's nice and fair. So you can't be like doing your own font and amazing like different italics and crazy different colors and so on. Everyone fills in the same document, so that's helpful. You'll obviously put in your own tables and images, so that's where you'll stand out. You can get it online. I think I'll have it on the next slide, and it's due on the 12th of December this year. It was the 18th, 19th, 20th for the last few years, so they brought it forward a week. I agree with that, but they also started it a week early as well. Okay, so I hope that's okay. That's all good. 100 marks. 20% of your overall grade. Really important that we get cracking on it now, and we have a nice handle on it. Obviously we'd like to have this done by mid to end November, and then we can get corrections done and get feedback from teachers and so on. So after completing chapters 1 to 3, or some people call them topics 1 to 3, you should have the ability, knowledge and skills to undertake this project. It's 10 weeks, September to December, 20%, and discipline to stick to these deadlines is very important, okay? So you should try and complete a section every 3 weeks. That'd be ideal. Let's say you did that from now, you'd be right on track. 9 weeks time is right bang in the middle of November, okay? I'm really flying through these. I hope you know them. So your activity has to be different to what you're thinking of doing after Christmas. If you're the best Gaelic footballer in Kerry, or you're the best hurler in Limerick, or you're the best gymnast in Kilkenny, you can't do anything similar to them in your PAP. So you can't do rugby for your PAP, this project, and Gaelic football after Christmas. The word they use is delineation, so it has to be completely different. They have to be completely different sports from completely different topics, okay? So you could do rugby for one project and athletics for another project, because they're separate. They're not games. Athletics is not a game where rugby is, okay? I did get a question on Instagram. Golf is considered a game. Okay, so you can't do golf this side of Christmas and then do hurling after Christmas. Okay, so golf is considered a game. Boxing is on its own. Boxing is a combat sport, and it's not in a bubble. We have these bubbles in PE. Boxing can be done before Christmas, and you can do like rugby, hurling, football, soccer after Christmas. All right, so there has to be a complete difference in the sport. That's really important. Don't trip up on that. I hope your teacher has told you that, and I hope you know that. What are you doing? You're doing a performance analysis of your chosen activity. You don't need to be good at this sport you've chosen before Christmas. You don't have to ever done it before. You don't need to be proficient in it at all. It's just an overall needs analysis on where can you improve, okay? You must use theory. If I got 25 geography students and asked them to do like a few tests on themselves to see were they any good at football, I think they do similar tests to what you do, but you have the theory backed up behind it. You know how to compare it to normative data. You know how to run the test correctly and so on, and you know how to retest and how important that is, and doing a retest in the same conditions. So you'll do a load of tests to see where you rank on loads of areas, and you decide on 3. So things you'll choose, you might check, are you skillful at the sport? So can you throw the ball into the basketball hoop? You might check your diet, are you eating enough carbohydrates and protein? You might do some mental prep, so you might see, do I have performance anxiety? Do I get anxious before games? You might track your sleep. Are you only getting 6 hours sleep a night? Is that affecting you? You might check your technique. So you might do some biomechanics on that. You might see your role. So am I a good half forward? Am I a good corner back? Am I a good striker? Am I a good hooker? And then HRF, PRF that everyone knows, which are muscular strength, muscular endurance, flexibility, aerobic endurance, and body composition. So that's HRF, and then PRF, power, coordination, reaction time, agility, balance, and speed. Okay, so everyone texts them, right? HRF, PRF, you can nearly take it as a given that everyone will test them, but we want to see what can we test that other people might not test and get some marks. So you do that at the start, you do a big needs analysis, and you come up with 3 goals you're going to pick. Then you do some training, practice, and you reflect. So you do a 6-week training block to get improve your muscular strength. How many times would you go to the gym for muscular strength? How many sets and reps would you do? And what type of exercise would you do? You show a few videos in the gym doing some bench press and some single arm rows and some pull-ups and so on. And then you reflect. I feel stronger. I went to the gym too much. I didn't go enough. I didn't do enough reps. I did too much reps. So you'll use fit there. So the principles of training are really important in the evidence of training. I don't know how you learn them. I teach Sport Raid. Okay, so Sport Raid is how you would learn principles using your evidence of training. Okay, so was it specific? Did you use progressive overload? So in week 1, were you lifting 20 kg? Week 2, were you lifting 22 kg? Then at the end, it's concluding performance analysis. So how did the 6 to 8 weeks go? You don't need to improve. You can say, I'm a worse basketball player, I'm a worse dancer, I'm a worse swimmer, but you just need to reflect. I went to the gym too much, I didn't go enough, or my program was amazing, I'm so happy with it, I'm now able to bench more, I'm a better rugby player as a result, and so on. You need to link your class content to your PAP. I call these things UMFAB, that's your HRF. Power crabs is PRF. Fit is, everyone should know that, frequency, intensity, time, and type. You talk about testing, diet, and psychological, as I mentioned. We compile this digitally. This is all done on a laptop, all done on a computer. You won't be like writing physically. Okay, it's all digital, and it has to be sent to the department. If you get worse, it doesn't matter. It's the reflection that is important. Okay. It can be this can be done on anything that has a national governing body. So it has FAI, GA, IRFU, but you cannot do a motorsport. So we do have a governing body for motorsports, but you can't do anything that has a motor. You can't do sailing with a motor either. It has to be individual. You can be the performer or the coach. You should save the material as you go. Very important. So if you got a bad injury in 6 weeks' time, you might be able to use some of the material already. You can become a coach then, but we don't want to go down the line, if possible, of getting extensions and so on, which they're fair and they do give, but just keep saving your material as you go in terms of videos and so on. Okay. Tripod. School may have to buy one. Yeah, you might need a tripod to take some footage. Decide on your device, and your app. So are you going to use your phone? Are you going to use Huddle? Are you going to use an iPad? Or have you got devices in school? The more variety, the better. So the more variety in your project, the better. So if you only test stuff in the gym and on a pitch, and you don't go to the effort of diet, sleep, biomechanics, it's not going to be as good as other people. Bring in a lot of that stuff. Make sure you're safe in the gym. So clips on the gym, on the bars and so on, and not loads of stuff all around the place. Same on a pitch. You don't be kicking the ball around on a waterlogged pitch. Biomechanics is really difficult, but it's worth it because you get marks for it. So analysing your angle of release if you're a shot putter, or analysing the angle that you kick the ball at compared to David Clifford, and compare yourself to a model performer. They love that bad boy. Okay. Project is PDF. It's 1,600 words max. I got a question on this. Can I go over each section by 10 words? No, you can't. Marks will come off you. Okay, I can't remember the name of the person. No, you can't do that. 28 pages. At the end of your project, it should be 28 pages. So it shouldn't be 34, because it'd be the same amount as the template they send you. It's Arial font size. When you insert an image, call them figure 1, figure 2. And then when I'm reading your project and I see in brackets figure 1, I know that what you're talking about. You're not allowed a picture collage. It's 16 images total, 4 for the first section, 8 for the second, and 4 for the last section. References and bibliography will be at the end. So that's where you say, I use this book and I use this website, and they don't include the word count, right? So they're not on the word count. So that's good, right? So all your references, I would be aiming 15 to 20 references. So like if you only use your textbook as a reference, you haven't gone to much trouble. If you use a website to check your normative data of your vertical jump, you've gone to a bit of effort. Have you read a book about the best ways to get physically fit using interval training? Brilliant. And like you're looking at me now going, where will I get these books? Go to the library, use online, get some journals, use all 3 PE books, 4 PE books, textbooks that are out there. Okay, so you need to go to the effort. All right. On the right hand side there is where you can find the booklet. If you haven't found it yet, go to examinations.ie, examinations information, and then you'll see the PE booklet there. Okay. Videos MP4, combined length of the videos must be 4 minutes, so a nice little way there is 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 minute. And if you're asking me what's the video about, I just want to see a video of you doing loads of tests in section A. I want to see a 2-minute video approximately in section B of you doing your program in the gym, running around, kicking the ball, doing tumbles, swimming, whatever it is. And then I want to see a minute video at the end of you retesting and seeing if you're a better player or if you've improved on anything, okay? You cannot exceed 1 GB. The frames are 720. Don't I think 720, don't go putting slow-mo or fast-forward, not allowed, like I said. You do need a voiceover saying, here I am doing a beep test, here I am doing a vertical jump test, here I am doing an ipsilative test for basketball, explaining what test you're doing. You don't have to explain every test, but a voiceover is needed in this one. There's no voiceover in the one after Christmas. Subtitles, the subtitles will just say like vertical jump test or bench press. You can't like put in a massive line. The guidelines is 2 words, but they'll take 3 if you want to say bench press test. Okay, so you can't put in a sentence there to try and sneak in word count. There's no music allowed unless you're doing dance or gymnastics, so don't have any sound in the background of your favourite song when you're in the gym, or people panting when you're running. There's no sound allowed, so turn off the sound when you're using it. CapCut is probably the best thing out there at the moment for making videos, which I'd say you're all aware of because you're probably all on TikTok. Okay, I did well there. I'm happy with that. I'm going to look at a few questions. Personal fitness to improve Gaelic football for my pap, and hockey got PS out. Can you do personal fitness? No, you can't, because personal fitness isn't a governing body. What's the governing body of personal fitness? No, it has to be a sport that has an NGB. Personal fitness isn't a sport. MW, can I do rugby, pap, and circuit trade and PA? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. The one at the PA. No, sorry, your circuit. Yes, you can. You can do that. Yes, you can do rugby and PA. Yeah. Biomechanics is more likely to get you better marks. Is it true? Is it true? If you do biomechanics well, you'll get marks, yeah, because it's hard. Like, what angle of release do you need to kick the Gaelic football at? I can't answer that off the top of my head. Can you? What's your sport, Finn? Like, what angle do you know? So it is difficult to do, but if you can do a side-by-side image of you kicking the ball with Clifford and he's kicking the ball at 90 degrees and you're 45, well, I'm trying to get better. Like, you know, that sounds hard. That doesn't sound hard to do, doesn't it not? But doing biomechanic really well is good, and not many people do it. Where do I get normative data to compare my assessment result to? In your textbook, or brianmac.co.uk, brianmac.co.uk, or Google the result. How do you actually test sleep? There's a variety of ways of doing it. There's questionnaires you can do. You can your phone does it for you. You could say you wore a Whoop strap. You could say you wore a Fitbit. You know, it doesn't have to be true. I shouldn't say that. Voiceover needed for testing video. Yes. Does figure 1, figure 2 count? No. Is biomechanics research or pure maths? It's not maths at all. Biomechanics is like the angle that you kick the ball at, what lever you're using. Have you done that chapter? What, like, one of Newton's laws might have come in, like the law of reaction. So have a glance back at that topic, skill and technique. Should you put your test result in the video with subtitles? That's preference. I should see that in a table. One of your images should be a test result, so you don't need your test result in the video. But that's up to you. Personal exercise and fitness, interval training and circuit for my pap to improve head. No, Holly, you can't do that, because there's no, unless you're doing Gaelic football for, if Gaelic football is the pap, you can do that, but you can't do a game after Christmas. Is biomechanics easier to test than athletics? Yeah, like biomechanics is easy to test for athletics. So what start should your leg be? Arms and legs be in the start, in the drive phase, and at the end, and where should your head be, and should you be aligned, and what's the importance of aerodynamics? Yeah, you can do that. Like, who's the best sprinter, what way do they run, and what way do you run? I'm going to stop these now after Ella. What were some examples of investigating biomechanics? I'll show you in a second. Would gym sessions be helpful for improving biomechanics for camogie strikes? Yes. You know, like, so you need good core strength. I just said I wouldn't. Would I be able to do kicking in American football? I was told you can't as specifics yet, or as I continue doing it, referring to different areas of kicking on form. Of course you can do kicking in American football. Yeah. What components of fitness do you think would be most important in rugby? So you can, that's up to you, Pearl. But like rugby, what's most important for rugby? Like, is coordination as important as power? No. Do you have any examples of H1 projects? Yes, but I can't give them to you, except they're €4,000 each. Joke. I'm going to show you H1 projects now. Is sleep and biomechanics in section A? Yes. Okay, done. No more. I'm going to answer all these questions now. Section A. After you've chosen your activity, you undertake a needs analysis. That's where you analyse loads of stuff in the sport. This is where you identify the key components of the activity. Maybe just, can we leave the questions for a sec, right? And I hope I'll answer them in the next 10 slides. And if I don't, lash in the questions. This is where you identify the key components of activity, test them with reliable, accurate tests. So you can't just say, Oh, I'm doing a test here where I'm running over to the fence and back. You know, it has to be like how many? What's the test for muscular endurance? Max pull-ups, max press-ups. Okay, so make sure it's a valid, reliable, safe. You've got good tester competence. Someone standing beside you when you're doing tests as well. After a wide range of tests, I'm going to show you the marking scheme in a second. You test your knowledge to focus in on 3 areas you're going to try and improve on. So you'll do loads of tests. My muscular strength is good. My muscular endurance is good. My flexibility is poor. My aerobic endurance is good, my body composition is good, my power isn't great, and my sleep is poor. And that's where you'll pick your 3 things. You can use your knowledge of principles of training. You should know sport rate, types of training, interval training, fartlek training. You can even go into mass practice, fixed practice. This is why your book is so important. Topic 2. Okay, so the topic 2 in your book, this, if you know that chapter inside out, you'll be grand. Energy systems, that'd be lovely. Like my ATP system is great, but my anaerobic isn't, or vice versa. Your diet, do you know how much carbohydrates you should be eating? So if you're an athlete, you should be eating 8 and 12 grams per kilogram. And you know how much protein you should be having, 1.5 grams per kg, and you might only be eating 1 gram. Recovery, you can talk about recovery as well. I wouldn't go down that road now. Probably should take that out there. Like, focusing on recovery for your PAP isn't great. You could test it though. Biomechanical analysis, as we said, but the key thing here is 6 areas should be tested out of the following. So this slide's a bit small, but out of them 9, you need to test a minimum of 6. All right. Learning and improving skill and technique. So the way you test that is, how many shots do I get from the left hand side, the middle, and the right hand side? 10 shots on the left, 10 shots in the middle, and 10 shots on the right, and that's called an ipsative test. So that's one way. Another way of checking your skill is you're doing a checklist. Really, a checklist. Can I squat? Can I kick the ball? Checklist, like, do 10 of these things. Oh, 6 of them I can't do. And another way of checking skill and technique is comparing yourself to a model performer, which you can do for biomechanics as well. Psychological demands of performance. Everyone does a SCAT test. Can you find another test? All right. Everyone does a SCAT test. Can you find me another test? Because I know 3 more, but can you see if you can do a little bit of research? Physiological demands of sleep. Okay, physiological is a massive term, but in this project it's sleep and recovery. So track your sleep. HRF, PRF, 2, 4, 5, and 9 are the most commonly tested things. That's why they're in bold. Performance-related fitness, that's power crabs, PCRABS. And health-related fitness is UMFAB, muscular strength, muscular endurance, flexibility, aerobic endurance, and body composition. Biomechanical and movement analysis, that's angles, as we talked about. Structure strategies, not many people do this. In dance or gymnastics, it'll be very important. You know, talking about your rhythm and your how dynamic you are and your use of space. That could be also talking about, are you able to play in a 4-4-2 in soccer, or can you play with a mass defense in hurling or whatever. Roles and relationships, how do you get on with your manager? How do you get on with people on your team? No one do. 7 and 8 are the least covered. And diet and nutrition, like I said, everyone does. Minimum of 6 of them. You need to test yourself on 6 of them, okay, in linked to your sport, and then really narrow it down to 3 things that you're going to try and get better at that will make you a better whatever sport. Okay, section 8, couple more questions. I would like to see H1 PAP 2. Our school project results were not good. Okay. Yeah, thanks. So 25 marks for section A. Okay, approximately 700 words. Okay, and that approximately means you could go to 710 in section A, but you'd have to take words out of your word count in section B, which is 450. So they say approximately because they'll allow you to go over by 10, but you have to take them 10 somewhere else. This is your performance analysis. You analyze the performance in a chosen physical activity using the results of a broad series of relevant tests, like I said. You present the data in tables, images, video, checklists, and other, and you compare with normative data. Okay, that's what you'll see when you open up the project, believe it or not. That's all you'll see. Section A, and they'll say enter text here, and that's where you write in your text. Everyone on this call will have the same. That's all you'll see, and you'll all just write in your words there. Okay, just wanted to show you that. Here's a sample. Okay, the sport I've chosen for my physical activity project is 400 meter running. I've chosen this activity because I'm in the associative stage of running, and I wish to increase the autonomous stage. I train my local athletics club and complete every month. I view this project as an ideal time to analyse and improve my performance. After completing a needs analysis of the main components of fitness required for running, taking into consideration the least neuromuscular fatiguing. Do you think that theory is good there? Yeah. and progressing through the more fatiguing tests. So when you're doing a needs analysis, you should start at the least fatiguing to the most fatiguing. So do your coordination and your reaction time and finish with your broncho or your cardiovascular endurance. I've decided the main components of fitness are for athletics or 400 meter running are performance rated fitness, health rated fitness, diet, nutrition, psychological demands, biomechanics, and physiological demands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I conducted a test battery to compare my performance to normative data and identify areas I need to improve. Lovely. Health-related fitness. So health-related fitness is key to 400 meter sprinting. As highlighted in the study, cardiovascular reference 1, he has a study looked up, and in figure 1 you'll see his results. So what did he find? The cardiovascular endurance, muscular endurance, and muscular strength are key components. I tested my cardiovascular endurance by completing a broncho. I scored excellently compared to normative data. I completed a sit and reach test to test flexibility. I scored excellent compared to normative data. For muscular strength, I completed 1 rep max squat test as lower body power is essential. I compared this to normative data and scored average, leading to a negative effect on my sprinting. Okay, I'm not going to keep reading. So that's a lovely Section A example for you. He does it with diet and nutrition. This is all going to be in the notes. He checked diet and nutrition. He met all his macro and micronutrients requirements and hydration. Psychological demands. He did a CSAI test. Everyone does a SCAT test, but not this fella, okay? And he found that what did he say? He scored high in both psychological and physiological tests, okay? So he's got a bit of anxiety. Sleep is important. He showed us an image of it, and he recorded it for 3 nights for a smartwatch, and he got 753. Overall, he's content with this, but he could improve as he's not getting to 8 to 10. Biomechanics, he compared himself to elite sprinter Wade Van Niekerk. Using the app Angle Meter, I realised I need to improve the angle of flexion in my knee joint in the sagittal plane if I wish to improve as a sprinter. Do you think, remember that geography student I was talking about earlier that might be able to do this project? Do you think he'd be able to talk about that stuff? No. So this is why that's important and good. There's an example of a table of results. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the component of fitness. What test did he use? What was his result? What's the normative data for his age? And then he gave us a lovely graph of green, orange, and red if he was good, bad, or not. On the far right-hand side, he has relevance. How relevant is this component of fitness to my sport? All right, so that's a good table. All right, so he's got from anaerobic endurance all the way to speed, balance, psychological demands, physiological, diet, nutrition. So he put all his test results into one image. Okay, so that's a good example of A. There's a couple of other images. So there's his data for his CSAI test. So he scored high in psychological anxiety and high in physiological one, but he was okay for self-confidence. And that's his sleep. Sorry about that's a bit squashed. But sleep for Monday, November 25th, he got 753. All right. So I hope that helps you in Section A. So that's his word count. Now, I cut off stuff there, okay? And this was a draft as well, so I wouldn't have let him submit this. Like, I just was a bit there. I even noticed it myself when he said the Bronco. What did he say for the Bronco? I see that down here. He says, I completed a Bronco. It needs to be called a Bronco test and so on. I wouldn't have let him say a few things there. So this was a draft. I thought his table's brilliant, though. So that's a really clear table. The relevance scale is subjective. Yeah, that's how he thinks anaerobic endurance is really important for 400 meter running. So that's up to him. Okay, so that's what he thinks. All right. Okay, this is the marking scheme. Are we good on A? Do loads of tests. Talk about them in here. You have 700 words. It's the biggest section for words. Little headings like that are nice. It makes it easy for the examiner. And then present your data in an image. And he would have had another couple of images there. He probably had an image of him running. He did have an image of him running side by side with someone. And here's the marking scheme. Okay. No, you wouldn't get a higher mark, but just everyone does a SCAT test. So why don't you just try and stand out every now and then, Saoirse? Yeah. So do the SCAT test all you want, but he just went to it. Like, he obviously read up, didn't he, and found there's another test. Okay, and there's another way of doing sleep as well. The Clonmel Sleep Clinic do tests, and just I don't know if anyone. I teach Irish as well. Just you should try and stand out every now and then in your Irish oral. Try and stand out in your PE project. Here's the marking scheme, right? So there's Section A. Okay, so if you just look down, it's hard to follow, I suppose. So what gets you good marks? Excellent analysis, links all aspects to theory. So I'm telling you that. You can't pretend you're just like a Joe Soap, and it's relevant to your activity. So if this 400 meter runner had focused massively on coordination, it's not the most important thing in athletics, is it? Okay, so he focused on the real important ones. What was his analysis like? It was a performance, detailed analysis, good interpretation of the data, and so on. The last bit here is a sneaky one. Accurately use of testing methods. They want you to use a variety of methods. They don't want just you testing yourself in the gym. They want a variety. So, sleep tracker, biomechanical with different side-by-side analysis, then your data within the gym. So they want that, and it's actually worth marks. Okay, so that breakdown of this is 20 plus 5, 20 for the analysis. I think everyone on the call with their head screwed on will get 20 out of 20, and the 5 out of 5 is to use a variety of analysis methods. Okay, I'm going to move on to section B because I'm now aware of the time. Section B is 450 words. This is where you have, after you've done your, I've identified my weaknesses, you now start telling people what you're going to focus on because they're my weaknesses. Okay, so you identified them in your testing. You're happy with some areas, but you want to focus on something. So you're going to present 3 clear and distinct rationalized performance goals. What that means is, this is a new thing in the American scheme, they don't want you to pick 3 HRFs or 3 PRFs. Okay, so you can pick a HRF, a PRF, and something else, but they don't want to power, strength, muscular endurance. Okay, so 3 clear and distinct rationalized. So rationalized means what's the reason you've chosen this, and will it make you a better whatever the sport is. And it should be relevant. If you're bench pressing 150 kg and you've chosen to improve on it in 6 weeks, that's not going to make much sense. Okay. Present a separate training plan designed to reflect each performance goal. So if I am trying to get better at my cardiovascular endurance, I'm going to show how I'm going to get fitter over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Am I just going to jog every day? No, because I know that that's not how it works. I'm going to do different types of running. I might do interval running, fartlek running. I might do circuit training another day. I might go for continuous running. Depending on the sport, I'll do different things, and I'll tell you what days I'm going to go because I know it's important to take rest and recovery, and I'll tell you what intensity I'm going to train at. A brief rationale, so you're going to tell them why you took Tuesday and Thursday off, and you're going to tell them why you're going at such an intensity, and you're going to tell them why you chose that type of training, and you're going to reflect on each goal. So you're going to pretend you did the plan. I don't mean that. I mean after each program, you'll say how you got on. So week 4, I got bored, so I mixed it up. So the principle of training of tedium, I mixed it up and I started going to the gym with my friend. At week 5, I realised I wasn't getting 70% of my shots off, so I moved closer to goal. So we pretend we're doing the plan, and we make some adjustments to the plan. All right. This is what section B will look like when you guys open up that document I talked about earlier. Okay. So it tells you 450. So in fairness, like they really spoon feed us. If you did 710 words in your section A, this has to be 440. Okay. So what are the 3 performance goals? So you'll put in your performance goal and the rationale. Then you'll put in your plan. So you put in your training plan and an image. And then you'll put in your rationale as to why you've chose it and why you reflect. Let's have a look at some examples. Sorry, there's an example, marking scheme first. They always want their theory. This is worth 40 marks now. So excellent links to sound theoretical principles, relevant to section A. Clear, concise, distinct goals, conforming to SMART. So there should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So you can't say, I hope I improve my bench press over the next 6 weeks. I'm going to try and improve my vertical jump. I'm going to try and improve my vertical jump from 52 centimeters to 56 centimeters over the next 6 weeks. That's smart, isn't it? Specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, it's time bound. Clear links to section A findings. So it's obvious this person has chosen cardiovascular endurance because they didn't do so well in a Bronco. Rationale based on sound theory. So the rationale for your program is based on good theory, so that's why you're taking 2 days off, and that's why you're training at such an intensity. It's sure that you have knowledge and understanding of the role chosen, so that's just repeating itself. Clear awareness of the factors affecting performance, so you understand what makes you stronger, faster, fitter, more flexible, and you're reflective as well. So you reflect on how the program is going. It's clear, it's obvious that this person's doing the program and they've got good reflections. They're happy with progressive overload. They're not happy with tedium. They're happy with, they got injured. Make up you got injured and say you experienced the law of reversibility or the principle of reversibility. All right. And there's more of the marking scheme for B. Let's have a look at B. Okay, so this person chose so nutrition. I want to increase my average daily protein, carbohydrate, water, and caloric intake to 150 grams, 450 grams, 4.5 liters, and 2,900 calories for 6 weeks. Why? According to my performance analysis, I'm under recommended daily allowance for carbohydrates, water, calories, and protein, and I fatigue easily. Fixing my diet will increase my energy levels, reduce recovery time, and improve growth and performance. Nice. Training program rationale. My breakfast contains proteins and simple carbohydrates because I'm in a fasted catabolic state. Thank you for your theory. I need to change into a fueled anabolic state to aid recovery and growth. Beautiful. And he has a reference there. My pre-workout meal consists of simple carbohydrates to convert easily into glucose and fuel the aerobic energy system. My post-workout meals contain protein, carbohydrates, and water to repair, refuel, and rehydrate. And he will show us a picture. My lunches and dinners are high calorie to prevent a caloric deficit, which would inhibit growth and reduce energy. So this person found they weren't eating enough, came up with a new plan, and explained to us why he's eating more food. I'm going to skip on because that's small. I just rewrote that just before the call. So this is a person doing basketball. This person's basketball program. I designed my training plan to be specific and mirror demands of a basketball match. They love that. Okay, the work-rest ratio, intensity, and length of interval training mimics transitioning between defense and offense. So this person's is doing interval training to increase their fitness. Continuous training in the aerobic heart rate zone is highly effective at developing cardiovascular endurance, and fartlek training mirrors changes in speed and intensity in basketball. I included various training methods to avoid tedium. Very obvious that person is using sport rate. Specific training, progressive overload, variety of training methods. I'm trying to avoid tedium. They also did a power program. Power involved exerting maximum force in minimal time. Not sure they needed that definition. Therefore, it's important to include strength and rate of force development training with power training. So this person knows their stuff regarding to train power. I kept low velocity and high velocity strength sets within a strength power 1 to 5 rep range. You should know that when you're training power, it's 5 reps max. I allocated rest time based on work to rest ratio of 1 to 20 because I'll be using my ATP system. If you're doing 5 reps, you'll be using your ATP system. Okay. I'll progressively overload by increasing repetition tempo for rate of force development and plyometrics, and I'll increase load for strength training. I kept training volume low to avoid overtraining and allow recovery. I included various exercises to provide tedium. So they're just using sport rate. When I say sport rate and you don't know what it is, that's principles of training: specific, progressive overload, reversibility, tedium, and then rest, adaptation, individual needs, and diminishing returns. Okay. So that's an example of section B, the training program rationale, and the training and the reason why. So there's a goal and the rationale. What's the goal and why? And that's the training program rationale. I'm trying to mix up the sports as best I can. So here's what we have to reflect in B as well. So this is what they ask us: reflect on each performance goal based on your engagement with the training plans. AKA, did you encounter any problems and how did you go about solving them? I would pretend I encountered a problem. Like, we're not all strength and conditioning coaches on the call. So I'd say I encountered a problem. Like what? Cardiovascular training volume was too high. I was doing too much running. This left me fatigued and I was suffering DOMS. If you don't know what DOMS is, you can say delayed onset muscle syndrome, or you can say DOMS, they'll know what it is. Or it affected my sleep. I adjusted the frequency and intensity of the training plan, and I implemented more recovery strategies. And I increased my protein to ensure muscle protein synthesis and improve recovery. So this person was training too much. Week 4 of their program, they realized it. They gave us the effects it was having on them. What did they change and how did it affect? Brilliant. Other examples: I didn't enjoy drinking more than 1 litre of water in one sitting, so I changed my diet plan to better distribute water intake. I couldn't keep up with the high intensity of a 30-minute fartlek, so I reduced it to 15 minutes in week 2 and added 5 minutes each week to make training achievable and gradually build up my fitness. Excellent. I had extremely poor Olympic lifting technique, so I decided to use week 1 to improve technique before advancing into power. During week 4, I felt I wasn't making progress quickly and became demotivated, so I set short-term goals for each session to feel a great sense of achievement and progress. Excellent. I increased my caloric intake by 240 calories with 60 grams of carbohydrates because I progressively overloaded on training plans 1 and 2 and therefore was burning more calories. Yeah, that's really clever. So I increased my food because I was training harder. Because obviously you're going to use progressive overload in week 1 of your plans, no matter what you're doing. In week 3, it should be harder because if you use progressive overload. So increasing your diet, increasing your calories is a good idea. Okay, I'm going to have a look at a few questions here. Just while I'll just take a breather. Could you stick this slideshow? It's already up there. Would you get a higher mark by using? Yeah, I already answered that. Sorry. Could you compare yourself to a model performer twice for both skill and technique and biomechanics, or could you only compare one? You could do it twice. I would only do it once personally. That'd be my preference. Just do it once, or use 2 different people maybe. I have a Whoop. No, you say Whoop. They know what a Whoop is. I was told examiners don't like to see expensive. That's absolutely not true. Why would they not like that? Like, that's fine. How long should your rationale be? Your rationale should be about 3 to 4 lines typed. This is a really hard part to keep within the word count. You've 3 goals in section B, and you've 150 words to write your goal. Your training plan is going to be in an image, and you're going to have to rationale the program and reflect. So it's really, really word pressured. Okay. I'm going to keep going. Other options, things you can say for reflecting. Did you increase the weight in the gym enough or too much? Did you take enough rest? Did you use the right practice method? Did you get bored of the training program? Did you increase performance rapidly and then plateau? That would be the law of diminishing returns. That's really clever. Was week 1 too easy and you request further than planned? And did you use VP Smarter? That is how you design a training program. Does anyone know what VP Smarter is? Varied, progressive, smart, as we did already, enjoyable and recorded. So you could say you didn't use the principles of good training, of an individual training session. Here's an example of the plan. So I showed you the basketball example, the nutrition example, okay, and now I'm showing you an example of a table in this, okay. This is top class now, okay. Top of the page, use ramp warm up before and cool down after. What method of training are they using? Whole. What type of training? Fixed and distributed. What does blue mean? Blue means progressive overload. What are we working on? We're working on a plyometric training plan, so they must be trying to work on power or agility. Ladder forward running, high knees, plyometric box step ups, tuck jumps, bounds. That's weeks 1 to 2. Show me what they're doing. Weeks 3 and 4, the exercise have changed and our reps have changed. Nice. And the rests have changed. Week 5 and 6, whoa, we're getting a bit fancy here now, and we're using progressive overload. Fit is the fit principle, and it shows us then how many times they're doing them, what level they're at, and so on. RPE over on the right hand side is rate of perceived exertion. You don't need to write that in because any examiner should know what that is. And what the rate of perceived exertion in week 1 is 5, so it's going to be not so hard, but look how hard it is in week 5. Rate of perceived exertion 8. Okay, so that's a brilliant example of a training program. I think it was power. Let's keep moving on. Here's another example. Okay, so this shows us there, because you've got 8 images to back up B, so this shows what they're doing Monday right through to Sunday. Agility on a Monday, muscular strength training and a bit of shooting, so this was for a sport. Cryotherapy on a Wednesday, lovely, for a bit of recovery, so they understand recovery is important. Agility Thursday again, so Monday, Thursday agility. Friday they're shooting again. Saturday is muscular training, and Sunday is recovery. Like that, you can't get better than that. Okay, so you have your 2 days recovery. I love the color coordination. I'm training in the gym Tuesday, Saturday. I'm kicking the ball around Tuesday, Friday. Alright, it's really clever, and it goes the same way weeks 2, 3 and 5 and 6. Okay, different forms of recovery, passive recovery, and you have self-myofascial recovery. That tells me this student's a H1 student. Does anyone know what myofascial is? If anyone has that on the call, fair play to you. Anyone know what myofascial release is? It's the fancy way of saying foam rolling. So this student is top class. Okay. Section B, summary. Excellent links to sound theoretical principles relevant to Section A. Lovely. Clear, concise, distinct goals conforming to SMART. Clear link to Section A findings. Rationale based on sound theory and performance analysis. Reflective of significant knowledge and understanding of the role of the chosen physical activity, and clear awareness of the factors affecting performance in the physical activity. They don't want people trying to work on balance if they're swimmers. Okay, make sure you're working on something that will really enhance you in your sport. Clearly reflective of A. Evidence of understanding and the application of a wide range of theoretical principles. I hope you've seen them, the examples of B. Detailed, accurate and appropriate training plans. They've asked for detailed, accurate and appropriate training plans. So if you think this is too detailed, they've asked for it. And it's not trying to use steel word count. 4 or 5 years ago, they didn't want this detail. They do want it now. The Leaving Cert project is changing year on year. Wide variety of concepts implement. That's like fartlek training, speed training, agility, gym training, fit principle, cryotherapy. Not just one concept over and over. All activities relevant to and reflective of performance. Okay. I'll have a little glance here now to see if we're okay. Examples for camogie. It could be the way you're running or hitting the ball. So you're striking the ball too high or too low at the wrong angle. Would you put your changes to your training plan? No, I wouldn't. You don't put it into the plan. You just reflect and say, after week 4, I did this. You make your plan at the start and leave it. Yeah. Those were ACE training plans. Were those training plans for 1 goal or 3 goals? That one of them was for agility. I have HRF. Yeah. Bleep isn't a goal, but yeah, cardio, PRF speed, should they be in 2 different plans? Yeah, you can do them in 2 different plans. Yeah, you have a lot of images in 8. I'd like to see one in one table and one in the other. Yeah. Well, this PowerPoint, yes, it is. Yeah. Where is the slideshow? Can't find it. I sent it into the platform. It'll be up after the lesson, so maybe just wait until afterwards. But it should be in there somewhere. Maybe, I'm not trying to be smart, but maybe just like pay attention to the next bit and then you can get it afterwards. Like so. Section C, 450 as well. So B and C are both 450. So what do they want out of us in C? Only difference that I really highlight in C and B is 20 marks for C, but it was 45 for B. B is the big marking place where you're going to get marks. Okay. So for concluding performance analysis, you're going to analyze your post-training performance in the activity. You're just basically going to do retests of everything you did in A. You're going to retest everything in A. Okay. So whatever tests you did in A, you're going to retest them in C. The video length should pretty much be identical because you're going to start off with a sit and reach, and then you're going to do a coordination test, and you're going to do max pull-ups, and you're going to do bench press, and then you're going to do a bit of shooting, and you're going to show diet and so on. You're going to reflect on your plans after the training plan because you were reflecting during it earlier, and then include suggestions for next steps. So what would you do if you're doing the plan again? I'd go to the gym more, I'd go less, I'd take more recovery, I'd shoot more, I'd go with a friend. Something you just what principles of training? So what sport rate did you not do well enough? Did you not adapt the plan well enough? Did you not take into consideration your studying for your leaving cert? Did you not realise how to change the plan because of diminishing returns? What was it? There's also marks here for overall coherence, and that means your overall prep, your planning, your implementation, and your completion of the project gets you 10 marks. So if you're adding them up earlier and you're getting 90, there is 10 marks floating at the end for overall coherence. To me, that's just the overall standard. You know, there's a flow. Is it clear this was well thought out project, or is it all over the place? And in one section they're talking crazy theory, in the next section they're talking in normal 18-year-old language. You know, this is what C will look like when you open up the document. Okay, so remember, I've shown you that each time now. I think it's important that you see this if you haven't already. You analyze your training performance there. I'd split that up into training performance goal 1, 2, and 3. Reflect on the effectiveness of each plan. So how I was really happy with performance goal 1, didn't like performance goal 2, I didn't improve, and performance goal 3 was only okay. And what would you do in the future? Okay, like we said already. Here's the marking scheme. That's very wordy, so I'm even gonna bother working at them, right? So and don't mind the 500 words there. That's the old marking scheme that's changed to 450. Section C basically is, are you a better player or athlete now? Are you fitter, faster, more agile, less anxious? And has that improved you as a player? Reflect, did the program work? Why did it work? And what would you do differently if it didn't? Based on an in-depth understanding and application of the theoretical principles. So you have to link this to theory as well. So it didn't work because I didn't follow the FIT principle. It did work because I followed sport rate. Consistent and accurate application of A and B. Yeah, so you're consistent with your project. Thorough, relevant post-training analysis. So if you tested everything again, it's thorough. Based on initial analysis, so you base it off initial analysis. And like if you do a beep test in your sports hall in school, you do the retest in the sports hall in school. If you do your max pull-ups in the gym in school, do your max pull-up test in the gym in school. Don't go using another gym or another track. Use the same place. It's very important to use the same environment. Broad analysis, highlighting appropriate theoretical links. Okay, here's an example of C. I reconducted a battery of tests, biomechanical analysis, CSAI tests, and analysis of my program. This is my runner again. Overall, I'm pleased with my results. I feel I've improved as a 400-meter runner over the course of this mesocycle. Wow, what's that? Mesocycle is in periodization, and that's a six-week plan, 4 to 6 week plan. Reflect on each plan. My goal was to increase my 1 rep max squat test from 128 to 136. Is that goal smart? Is it specific? Very. Is it measurable? Yes. Is it achievable? 8 kg in 6 weeks? Yeah. Is it realistic? Yeah. And is it time bound? Yeah. So he told us earlier 6 weeks. I felt the unilateral and bilateral movements had a significant impact on my training. Nice. So he liked doing two-legged squats and one-legged squats. The unilateral movements made me experience significantly more single leg power, which is crucial in running. I followed a varied and well-rounded program that kept me motivated to hit my goals. The principle of diminishing returns became apparent in several exercises. Diminishing returns when you improve really quickly, really fastly, and then you plateau really fastly. Is that a word? You improve really quickly because you mightn't have trained something before, and then you plateau if you flatline, leading to a significant increase in weights. Well done. My power program has led to a significant improvement in my performance, and I'm now capable of exerting greater force. So he's really happy with goal 1. He aimed to reduce his CSI test from 29 to 23 for psychological demands, but it only went to 25. So he's honest. I designed a diverse program including various activities. So how did he try and bring down his anxiety? Walking, journaling, visualization. He found them beneficial. These exercises had a synergistic effect. I'd say he got that off ChatGPT, helping to reduce stress and manage anxiety, while exercises like the Wim Hof method are well known for this. Okay, so that's another little reflection. So he didn't achieve his goal, but he's still happy. Performance goal 3, he aimed to improve his biomechanics from 142 to 135 degrees, so his knee biomechanics, and he would have talked about this. Although I only decreased the angle of 137, I am content with the effectiveness of my program. I feel I use mass and part practice beneficial in this program. Reflecting on this goal, I think it was unrealistic to improve the angle by 7 degrees. Excellent, really good. What would he do in the future? I found this program, performance goal 1. He said, see where he has PG1? He was struggling with word count. So if he kept saying performance goal 1, 2, 3, performance goal 1, 2, 3, sure, that's upping his word count to 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, potentially 27 times. So he's clever. I would try including plyometrics for my power program and give an extra rest day. I would also include another exercise in my workout. I found a session a little short. Good man. He reduced the number of breathing exercises and include more physical, mental ones. I would consult with my coach, see if they could do some one-on work. Excellent. He liked performance goal 3. It was enjoyable and effective. I'll continue this program and increase the intensity, make sure I don't experience reversibility. Reversibility is if you stop doing something. Unintended consequence is he improved his scores in agility test, even though he wasn't working on agility, which will also benefit him as a runner. And he also noted he was less anxious in school and he was more prepared for tests. So an unintended consequence is something else improved and you weren't even working on it. So that's really clever. All right. A few questions here. My teacher said for the PA, the class thing to do say sports is easier. Do you think I have an interest? Another one I should your class have to pick 3 activities as a class. Yeah, that is true. You do have to pick 3 activities. So your class might have to pick rugby, athletics, and dance. But your class have to do that. But within that, you could do rugby for your PAP and athletics after Christmas. So you do have that option. That's not a teacher's option. When making videos, your training plan should look like it was filmed just one. No, don't worry about that, Pearl. The videos are supplementary. If you look at the marking scheme, have I said anything about the video on the marking scheme? No, the videos are just proof you did it. If you submit a 1 minute, a 2 minute, and a 1 minute video, and there's proof that you did the thing, you're getting your marks for it. It's just supplementary. I'm not going to say there's no marks going for it. If you don't submit videos, you'll lose marks, but it's all supplementary. So don't be freaking out about when you took them and what jersey you wore and so on. Don't worry about that. Will you lose marks if one of your plans doesn't work? No, you won't. Should you make references at all? No, don't mention your PA at all. No, because your PA is after Christmas. This is before Christmas. What's your opinion on using AI as help and guidelines? I've no problem using AI. Just reference it. Yeah, it's in the new guidelines. It says if you use AI, reference it. So I would use it for making tables and stuff if you wanted, but don't say I reworded this paragraph by using ChatGPT. They're in the 21st century. They're in the year 2025. They know you guys are going to use it. I use it. Okay, so use it. Help you using tables. Help you to make help you with your images or whatever. I don't know what you're trying to do, but don't say I use it in paragraph 4. I reworded 300 words to 250 using ChatGPT. Obviously. I would recommend doing biomechanics. It's not hard to score with high end if you do well. What would be a standout option for a non-game player for a PA? This is a PAP. A masterclass. A few more. Just wanted to show you a few more things you might like. That's his retest. Remember that guy? That was his. Remember his one earlier. So now it's his retest. There's just an extra column in it now. So he's obviously handy on Excel. There's all his retests, so he had some improvements and so on. So that's just his table has just got three extra columns. So that's how easy it is to make your tables. That's his references. Remember I said that your 15 references should be good. So what did he use? Loads of different ones. Websites, books, their textbook on your marks and what page he used. brianmac.co.uk, Spotify podcasts, excellent. Like really, this lad tried his best, didn't he? Like, okay. Don't mind them, they're not really amazing. They're just other examples. Yeah, the bibliography. So bibliography just means what books did you use for your project. It's not included in your word count, so thank God. We know that's really good. Variety of sources, not just websites. Even just glancing at that there, just glancing at this one, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of websites. And thank God he did use a podcast and a textbook. And there's more of them there. You can see I cut that off, but I'd probably have the books up first maybe there. Maybe I did tell him that, because remember I did say this was a draft, so I'd have the books up first and like things you've tried out, journals and so on. And look, there's nothing wrong with websites, but just if you only use websites are easy to use. You see, where's the evidence that this lad did a little bit more? Okay, the podcast is the evidence. Bibliography, what else am I saying here? Podcast, newspapers. Yeah, did you read an article on Brian O'Driscoll or Keith Earls, or why do I keep talking about rugby? Henry Shefflin or Sonia O'Sullivan in a paper, and it helped you. Use Google Scholar. Yeah, when you use Google, if you go into Google Scholar, you'll get better articles and real academic stuff. Make sure your bibliography is neat and tidy and easy to follow. It's not like college where you have to have Harvard referencing or something like that, but just make sure you follow the same process. You know, like the book, the page, the author. Do you need to use? No, you don't. So I just said that. A website included. Yeah, if you can include the date you access it. Like I said, that was a draft, so you should say website and then in brackets on the 21st of November 2025 I access this, because if they do go and check out a few of your references, which they will, and there's no website there or there's no thing, they might not be happy. The videos: A is 1 minute evidence of testing, B is evidence of training, and B is evidence of a retest. Like I said a second ago, the videos are supplementary. Okay, there's no official marks going for them. If you don't submit videos, you'll lose marks. But don't be worried, where's my tripod? What angle will I get this? That is not this project, the one after Christmas. That's important. Captions and voiceover allowed. MP4, do not exceed 4 minutes. You can go under an A and over an B if you want. Supplementary, write-up is the most important. The marking scheme, yeah. So, not everyone knows this. Don't tell anybody. So this is the breakdown of each mark of each section, which they don't give us really, right? So section A is the analysis of performance. I would be disappointed if you didn't get 20 out of 20. You get 20 out of 20 by doing six areas: HRF, PRF, diet, nutrition, psychological, physiological, biomechanics. If you analyse them successfully and your table is nice and neat, you're getting 20 out of 20. The only way you won't get application of analysis tools is if you don't use a variety of them. If you only do gym testing, you don't do Whoop test and SCAT test and CSI test and so on, you won't get the 5 out of 5. Section B, this was multiplied by 3, so it's 4 marks for goal 1 on your rationale, and it's 7 marks for your training plan. And that you multiply that by 3, okay? So what's my goal? Is it SMART? And why? Yeah, we get 4 out of 4 there. My goal is to improve X by this in this time period because it'll make me a better basketball player. 4 marks. What's your training plan like? So is a training plan in the image good, like the images I showed you a second ago? Does it follow all the theory and so on? Okay, do that 3 times. Rationale for each of the plans. So does it make sense why you've done them? And can you reflect on your performance goals? 6 marks. Section C, did you analyse your post-training performance? Did you do retest? 10 out of 10. Can you reflect on the effectiveness of each plan? Did each one work like I just showed you? This worked, this didn't, this did. I think that's a good way to go. Say 2 worked, 1 didn't, or vice versa. 2 didn't work, 1 did. And then what next steps would you do? Increase the weights, more recovery, whatever. And then the last 10 marks is the overall coherence. So what's the overall coherence of your project? Does it look, does it flow, is it planned, and so on? All right. So overall then, 20% of your grade, it's 100 marks. It's due on December 12th. It's 1,600 word write-up, not 1,601. 3 videos that are supplementary. You're allowed 16 images, 484. Detailed program is key to keeping the top marks and using theory. You must use a department document. You should get started now if you haven't. And section B should be completed by midterm if you could. Theory, academic language, and detail is critical. Okay. I'm glad to see the chat calm down a bit, so I hope that means I answered a few. I have no problem answering a few questions, but I hope that helped a little bit. I'm going to flick back to the marking scheme. I like that because I don't like these ones. They're so wordy. I don't like it. So this is a way of breaking that down with a little bit more detail, and you only know that if you've corrected them. Right. Yeah, I would, Jack. Yeah, I'd recommend following that marking scheme as a guide and making sure. Yeah, I would. I actually think I'm more. I look at that. I only made that today. I'll be honest with you. I only made actually. If you use the PowerPoint slides for this, I sent them last night, and I made a couple of extra slides. So people who logged on, well done. You're getting bonus stuff. I only made this today, because I don't like the marking scheme that they send us. So I think that's easier. I like that now. Yeah, I'm going to use that in my own classes. If you put a podcast in your reference in your bibliography, you have to mention it in the PAP. Yeah, you should do. Anything in your bibliography, you'll have mentioned in your PAP, like, because you'll say reference 16, and then I'll go to reference 16. Oh, that's what he's talking about, a podcast. Yeah, you wouldn't lose marks or anything for that, you. No. Anything else? Yeah, I'm going to leave that up for a second. Then, if anyone has any questions, they can throw them in. If anyone wants me to go back on a slide or anything like that, by all means ask. I think I've asked most of them. I hope you found the slideshow if it is in. If it's not, it will be in soon. I think they said earlier it goes in 24 hours afterwards a day. Maybe that's why it's not in there yet. Is there any other questions at all? Can we contact you directly? Probably. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, my email is orjoyce@grinds360.ie. I will just say it's hard to give individual feedback on like section A, B, and C. I teach full time, so and I have my own classes preparing for the projects. And but like if I can, I will. But I did get a bit too many individual requests like that, and it is tough to get back to everyone. So, but I'll try my best, or I'll give you some feedback. What kind of training methods would you use in biomechanics for implant? Yeah, excellent question. So let's say I'm trying to improve the angle of release of a shot put. So my shot put, and my elbow's down here, and it should be up here. So then I'm going to turn into a teacher here now, but what type of training would you do there? You'd be doing massed practice, wouldn't you? Like lots of reps of it, like massed practice, okay? And maybe whole part whole. So I'm going to throw the shot put, and now I'm only going to work on my glide is in shot put. I'm going to only work on my glide, and now I'm just working on the follow through. Tennis is a better example. Let's say you're trying to work on your tennis serve, biomechanics of a tennis serve, right? What you can do for that is, my serve, I keep hitting the net, or I keep going long, or I keep doing some double faulting. Okay, so I'm just working on the ball toss. Okay, so I'm working on my ball toss because I'm not throwing it high enough, and the angle that Roger Federer hits it at is at X angle, and I want to try and hit it from there. So I'm going to work on. That's how I'd work on it. Does that answer your question? I hope it is. Katie, I hope that answers your question. If you give me your sport, I'll give you a better answer. So yeah, mass training, fixed, and then whole part whole, trying to better. And so my angle was X, but I worked on it through this way, and now I improved my angle by 3 degrees or whatever. Do all the words in the tables? No, they don't. Thank God, Dervla. The words in the tables don't count in the word count. Yeah, thanks be to God. Yeah, and then there's my email. Yeah. Would it be easier to improve speed or agility in JA? I'd love to ask you at the end of that piece, Saoirse. Does it matter if you improve either? What matters is the plan. So it doesn't matter which is easier. So it's do you have a good agility plan? I'm going to look at your plan. I don't care if you improve. And I'm going to look at your reflecting. Yeah, the plan's good. Frequency. How often is she going? What's the intensity like? What type of training is she doing? You're trying to improve your agility going for long distance runs. Then again, I'm not getting any marks. You're trying to improve your agility with plyometrics and short, sharp sprints and turns and so on. You're going to get loads of marks. Doesn't matter which one you choose. If one of my goals in Camogie is shooting, actually, can I bring in biomechanics? They'd be 2 separate goals. So one of the goals would be skill and technique, trying to improve your shooting accuracy. And your second goal will be biomechanics. They'd be 2 separate goals. When comparing norms, do you compare to an elite lifter at your age? Yeah, I'd compare it to your age, and if you have the data for an elite one, do that too. But yeah, it's more like we're not comparing ourselves. Like if you were doing, I said it there, like Roger Federer, he's a model performer, but that's that's different to my data. I compare my beep test to an 18-year-old. I compare, and if you want it, you can say, and down the line, I would try and an elite performer is doing this. But yeah, great if you get data on your own age. If you can't get it on your own age, an elite one is fine. Does it matter how close you are to elite performance, or is it more for the PA that you need to be able to produce competitive performance? Doesn't matter how good you are at the sport. Katie, for sprinting with biomechanics would be just mass practice of your starts or other elements. It'd be part whole part as well, Katie. So just coming out of the blocks and then going back into the blocks. That's part practice. Just practicing coming out of the blocks. And then you do the whole thing and you do part again. And then you work on your arms and you work on your legs. And depends on the biomechanics you're trying to work on. How would you train for running biomechanics for sprinting? Same question, Derby, I think. Can you say in the associative stage, I want to get, yeah, that was in the project there a minute ago. I'm an associative stage learner for tennis and I want to get to the autonomous stage. Even if your testing isn't good, we'll try and you should try and manipulate your test results and say that they're in the associative stage. Do you think if you were doing running to do a race to start and at the end to show the difference? Yes, you could do that. Yeah, you definitely have people in the race with you, to show that you could say that you got anxiety at the start of a race, but it doesn't matter if you win or lose the race. You're trying. This is the individual. If you were doing athletics for the PA, you have to have a race. I'm trying to decide. I don't know, between. Is that slang? I'm so old. I'm trying to decide between. Is BW between? Balance and cardiovascular endurance. Would you say balance is a lot more difficult? Yeah, balance is harder to do plans for and so on. Cardiovascular endurance is easier to do up a plan, a detailed plan, follow the, like I wouldn't know where to start trying to improve my balance. I don't know what your sport is. If it's in gymnastics, you'd have a better idea than me, but I think cardiovascular endurance would be easier. When analysing skill into knee, would use biomechanics, for example. My knee was only bent at 130. Yep, exactly, Pearl. Yeah. But make sure you find out what the correct angle should be. Is there any way you could test psychological habits such as looking around you before you take a shot, or is that too difficult or confusing? There's no test for it, but you could say it's something like you found yourself distracted. So you could say I got high in the SCAT test, so I've got anxiety, and this makes sense because when I'm taking free throws. I found myself looking around, but there's no test for that. You could say a coach told you. Cause remember earlier, your relationships. You could say a coach gave you feedback. That's good. You could do that. Camogie, should I be wearing my helmet at all times, like recording my skill analysis for Section A? Doesn't matter. I would wear my helmet as much as I could in Camogie, but if you're taking frees and you're clearly on your own, no problem. But if there's anyone tackling you or marking you, I don't know if you're going to go down that line. But because there is marks for safe practice. I'd have it on and off. If you're taking frees, hitting the ball against the wall, and there's no one else around, no problem. But I would have it on majority of the time, I'd say. If all your test results are in one table, is it okay to keep referencing in section 8? Yeah, you can you can just keep saying reference one. You can reference that table. That'll be an image. That'll be figure. Oh yeah. Figure you'll have 16 figures in your project. I'm looking at the wrong camera. 16 figures because you'll have 4 figures in section A, you'll have 8 figures in section B, and you'll have 4 figures in section C. So there'll be 16 images in your piece, but you could have 25 references. They're different. Okay, references is something you've read in a book or a podcast or a website, but your figure is your image. Yeah, I hope that made that clear. Do you have to identify yourself in your videos? No, you don't say like I'm wearing the blue top and the red something. No, but someone asked me. Sorry, I forgot the Instagram questions. Yeah, if you're in in a match situation, you can't use a match situation from a club or footage like that. You can't use that. But if you're in PE and if you have a few people and you want to say I'm good or bad at defending, you can have someone in that, but you're not allowed to use that from a match or anything like that. I hope, Connor, I discussed the option of doing golf. Golf's a great option, but it is a game. Is that what you mean? suggestions for it, like analyze your HRF, PRF, psychological, diet. Say your drive is wayward, so you're trying to improve your drive by using massed and fixed and part whole part practice. Try and improve your power because power is important, and try and improve your psychological preparedness because you're really nervous when you're playing golf competitions, but you're not nervous when you're in the driving range. Would I be able to review your section A and B? Not really. Can I go 10 words over? No, you can't, Gemma. How much text is too much in the images? I hope you've seen how many. I hope you've seen the how text, like looking into text and that. That's brilliant. Can you use photos of yourself? No, you can't. And what's the layout will be like? I hope you know that now. All right. How do you show improved psychological demands over a training plan if it's one of your goals? I got a high SCAT test of 28 in week 1, and I got 20 in week 6, and that was because of all the things I did. So I used visualization, I used meditation, I used deep breathing, I used positive self-talk, I used centering, and I improved my concentration. Is that okay, Emer? Anyone else? And like, I know earlier I was kind of shutting down questions. Any question now is fine because I know just like you'd love to get it answered now, like rather than in a month's time. I'll do another one of these end of November, maybe end of October, sorry, just to see how everyone's getting on and just answer questions. What app use for tables? My class don't use an app, they use Excel. Some of them use Microsoft Word and they just work at them in class. Excel is easy to make tables on. They don't use an app. Text in image doesn't get. No, it doesn't, Kyle. I think so. No, sorry, seriously. I didn't mean that. Agility and speed for me I'd be really similar making them plans, but it's just up to your preference. They're both using very similar stuff. Just a bit of change of direction in agility and not so much change of direction in speed, but really similar plans. Power, you're going to be working on your lower body power, and you're going to be working on plyometrics in both of them, so it's up to you. Anybody else? Any questions? Have we summarized everything? Yep, Google Sheets for making plans. Yeah, if you're comfortable with them. Yeah, definitely. Okay, anyone else any questions, or are we happy enough? How much text is too much? Just answer that. I'll just show you this image. That looks fairly texty, doesn't it? But that's a really good table. Like, that's as good as you're going to get. That's as good as you're going to get now, is that one there. And see figure 7 top left as well, so I clearly know what image it is. Can you reference other sports in your plans? Can you elaborate on that, James? I'm not sure what you mean. What would your best test recommendations for camogie be? Well, it'll be based off my needs analysis. So what's most important for camogie? So cardiovascular endurance is important, agility is important, muscular strength is important, skill is really important. So yeah, I'm not hitting the ball over the bar enough, so maybe skill. I'm struggling in the last 10 minutes of games, so maybe cardiovascular endurance, and I'm not able to break tackles, so maybe muscular strength or power. That'll be up to you, I feel like that would be from your tests that you do. Like, are you not very fit, or are you really fast, or what are you really good at, and then what are your weaknesses? So like, kind of, it's good to do this, really do this and help you. And sorry, if you're doing a team game, make sure you mention your position. So I'm a centre forward, I'm a centre back, I'm a midfielder, I'm a corner forward. That's so important. Sorry, I haven't said that until now. I have a table saying theory behind my training plan on VPs. I have a table saying theory behind my training plan. Oh, yeah. I don't know what that means. Do you have to test every health and performance component at the beginning? You don't have to test them all, Dervla, but I would test the majority. So there's 11 of them. I would test 9. And if you thought balance isn't important for swimming, I wouldn't test balance. You know, if you thought body composition, which is a bit of a joke, dividing your health by your height by weight, unless you have a caliper as you've an underweight test, you could say I didn't bother testing it. I'd test 9 out of 11 HRF, PRF. Camogie, strike was bad in skill analysis. I'm choosing to improve in section B, but I also went biomechanical, which is one of them heading to great training plan. Oh, I get you, yeah. If they're two different goals, you have to have 2 different plans, but you can't show there's an overlap. Yeah, you can say there's an overlap, but they're still going to be 2 different plans because they're 2 different goals. So if skill improvement is a plan, is a goal, and if biomechanical is an improvement, then you have to mention two different plans. Yeah. It's complicated, isn't it? Like it's not easy. It's not easy, but as you get through all this stuff, and the more you kind of work through it and say, "Oh, I think I'll do that," it gets easier. You, yeah, you can use a fake race. You can't use club match. No, you could use a fake race, like, and say, "Here I am in PE class racing, and I clearly die at the end of the race or something like that." You can do that. Now that's more for the PA, but you can use it saying that you can see at the end of this race, you know, or you could say in your video, be a 5 second clip of you, losing the race or winning the race or starting well or finishing badly. You can do that, but it's more individual. The PAP is more individual rather than team stuff and race stuff. So don't be trying to put yourself in team scenarios too much. It's more individual. I think I'm answering everything. There was just one there about, can you reference other sports in your plans? I don't know what that means, James. I think you mean, like, can I say I also play this and I'm tired? You can do that, but should you test muscular strength for upper and lower body? Depends on the sport, Ewan. If it's rugby, I'd do both. If it's Gaelic football and hurling, I'd do both. But if it's another sport, golf, maybe you might only do one. Any test for rugby kicking, or better to make your own? Yeah, rugby kicking, an ipsative test. 10 from the left, 10 from the middle, 10 from the right. Ipsative test is the best way to test, and it's got a nice name and it's theory. For section A, you have to write about 2 HRF. No. Do you have to write about 2 HRF and PRF that you're good and bad at? No, you don't. No. I want to do basketball and weightlifting. Which one should I do for the PAP? What's your sport? Both you can do. I would. So my preference would be basketball for the PAP and weightlifting for the PA. But depends. Are you really really good at one or the other? Could we be able to send your draft PA at the end of November? Yeah, you can. But I cannot promise I'll be able to get it. I cannot promise I'll get it back to you, but I'll do my best. But I've got a full class of 5th and 6th years, and as I said earlier, I teach Irish, so I'm fairly busy with it. But I'll do my best. Are you allowed to use videos from your own training? No, you're not allowed to use videos from your own training. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can do, like, if you're on a track and you do running in a track or in a club. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Your teacher just has to sign off and it's saying it's you. You can. Sorry. I thought you were gonna, like, I thought it was like you training with your GAA team. Once it's only you in the video and it's at your GAA club, if your teacher says is happy with it, that's fine. Or it's your swimming club, it's fine. Can you reference other training sessions from other sports? I do a para session in rugby. Can I reference this in your running plan? No. Don't do that, James. It's just too complicated. Don't you just pretend you're not doing another sport. Can you include a picture in section A that's not one of your goals in section B? Yes, of course you can. So you could have a picture of your diet, a pie chart of your diet, and then, but you haven't. It's not one of your goals. Yeah, you're going to have to do that, aren't you? You have 4 images in A, so all images can't be of your goals because you're going to have 3 goals. So yeah, of course you can. Yeah, but if I was doing biomechanical analysis as a goal or skill as a goal, I would have I'd have a picture of one of my. I could try and have a picture of one of my goals in A. All right. Anyone else got any questions? I hope I answered as many as I could there, and I hope you're a little bit clearer. If there's no more questions, this will be recorded, as I said, and that's what they said will be up in 24 hours. But yeah, I hope you got a good bit from it, and we will have a chat in maybe end of October. And if you do want to email me, lash on an email, no problem. Just like imagine everyone on the call. I don't know how many people on the call. If everyone sends me their project, I'm just not going to get back to them, But if I could give you a steer, I'll try my best. You're very welcome. MW Sophie, you're very welcome. Or Joyce at Grinds360, no problem. Throw an email. And if I can get back to you, sorry, I'll get back to you. But if it takes a while, I apologies. All right. Okay, I have to try and shut this down now and not break anything. Okay. I hope you're all good. and best of luck with it. As I said, I'll do another class in October, maybe end of October, coming up to midterm. You'll have midterm break will be really nice for you. You get a good bit of work done. I know you've other projects due, like economics is due and so on, but that's why this month is really important. Like, you know, that English teacher that's on to you about Shakespeare, and just they might need to take the back seat for a couple of weeks and just get a good bit of this done and get loads done in school in your double. If you have a double PE, which you should, get lots done in school. And yeah, like, unfortunately, every year, start of December, it's panic stations, but not if you get a nice bit of work done now. All right, so best of luck. You're all very welcome. Thanks a million, and I'll talk to you all soon. All right, see you. Bye bye.